Maharaj discloses. The whole chapter is dedicated to Nanda saying what Gargamuni told him. So you all know who is Gargamuni, right? Gargamuni is, who's Gargamuni the son of? Huh? Huh? Say it again. Kartika? Gargamuni. Gargamuni is the priest of the royal family. He's like, he knows how to do yagyas, and he's the go-to person when you want to know something. So they wanted to know, who's this boy? So Gargamuni told him. Same Gargamuni that did the name-giving ceremony for Krishna and Balaram. And he said, these children, something, something, something. So in previous ages, he was of these three colors. It's same message that comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita and in Canto 11, the different avatars for the different yugas. So white, yellow, and red. This son of yours, who's blackish, appeared in previous ages. So they concluded that he's an incarnation of Narayana. That's before this. Chapter just before this. And just before that is the Govardhan Leela. So who is this 7 days? He lived it, and you've seen Govardhan Hill. It's not a bump. It takes 6 hours to walk around Govardhan Hill. And he lifted Govardhan Hill for 7 days with his left hand. With the little finger of his left hand. So he's not an ordinary person. So that's at chapter 27 ends. Now 28 is beginning, and Krishna's very responsive. He understands things that they're gossiping about, and they're questioning, and he wants to reciprocate with them. So hearing what happened when Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill from the mouth of Nanda, the cowherd men were very surprised. Because of this, Krishna showed them Vaikuntha. Their curiosity is way up there, and Krishna is going to reciprocate. And twice it happens in this Leela. It's really nice. It's a really nice Leela. Now we're in Vrindavan, and they don't know that Krishna is God. They think he's their friend, or their darling little boy, or something. But he's bordering on disclosing, but he very quickly pulls the curtain back and opens the curtain, closes the curtain. Sukadeva Goswami narrates this pastime because, this is commentary, in telling the story of Krishna forgiving Indra for his offense following the Govardhan Leela, Sukadeva Goswami remembered how Krishna also forgave Varuna for his offense. Varuna made an offense. Not an offense to Krishna, but an offense to Nanda Maharaj. So another nice place where this Leela is described. So we'll see these two fellows at the bottom, a whole bunch. There's Snigdhakanta and Madhukanta. Snigdhakanta and Madhukanta are the two narrators of Gopal Champu. Because the format of Puranas or history narrations, generally there's questions, questioner and an answerer. So these two just kind of have a dialogue back and forth in Gopal Champu. It's how it's narrated. And Gopal Champu narrates both the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, the pastimes of Krishna out of Vrindavan. Very natural combination. So they, Snigdhakanta and Madhukanta, are having a morning recitation, the morning Bhagavatam class, and they're reciting Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Nanda isn't nice. Nanda, knowing that only a small portion of the Dwadasi remained for breaking the fast, he entered the Yamuna to bathe before the Dwadasi ended, according to a specific rule. So we break Ekadasi one way, he's breaking Ekadasi, he's going to take some grains most likely, but it's a bath before he takes some grains, and the bath in the Jamuna. He went at the right time. He didn't go at the wrong time. He went at the right time, according to the Vedic rules. Having entered the water, he fearlessly bathed. He began to meditate on Narayana, praised in the Vedas. From his birth, he had full faith in Narayana, because he attained Krsna as his son. By that worship, he was even more inclined to worship him. Because he had attained Krishna as his son, by that worship, he was even more inclined to worship him. Narayana is very kind. He gave me a son. Such a cute boy and mischievous, but text 2. Because Nanda Maharaj entered the water in the dark of night, which was in violation of another rule, but it was at the right time, so it wasn't out of bounds. It wasn't a violation. But so there's sometimes when some rule overlaps with another rule, and how you're supposed to decide. Well, the agent of Varuna decided wrongly. He made a boo-boo. He offended Nanda Maharaj. And it wasn't a nice offense. He kidnapped Nanda Maharaj as he was taking his bath according to the Vedic rules. Disregarding that the time was inauspicious, a demoniac servant of Varuna, notice it's in red letters, demoniac servant of Varuna. What's a demoniac servant doing assisting a demigod? We'll have to ask Shukadeva Goswami about that one. Seized him and brought him to his master. So where is his master? You have to go down, 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 the right hole. You go around the right hole, you go into the abode of Varuna, and he brought him, Nanda Maharaj, before Varuna. Nanda Maharaj was intent on breaking his fast during the Dwadasi day, of which there remained only a few minutes. Thus he entered the water to bathe at an inauspicious time before the first dawn light. This is Prabhupada's purport in this description. So this means this is Krishna book, because Prabhupada didn't write commentary on the Bhagavatam verses up to that chapter. So, it's, he did and he didn't. He didn't and he did. And this demoniac servant made the wrong call. The servant of Varuna who arrested Nanda Maharaj is stated here to be a demon for several reasons. 1, the servant was foolishly ignorant of Nanda Maharaj's position as the pastime father of Sri Krishna, the supreme absolute truth. That's Vishwanath. 2, Nanda Maharaj's intention was to carry out the injunctions of Scripture regarding breaking his Ekadasi fast. So he was within the bounds. Therefore, again Vishwanath, Varuna's servant should not have arrested Nanda on the technical ground that he bathed in the Jamuna at an inauspicious time. So there's the auspicious, inauspicious, and you got to break Ekadasi. So the break Ekadasi one trumps the inauspicious one. So he was wrong, and he offended. So he's called the demon. Varuna had produced the splendid abode by his power to obstruct water. It was situated at the bottom of a pool in the Jamuna, within a cavern in the earth. Remember that initial image? That's where the abode of Varuna was. Wise persons could never imagine that the father of Krishna could be brought there. So this is Gopal Champu, Snigdhakanta, and Madhukanta telling the pastime, like a team. And they have a big audience. They like to hear from them. When the servants, it says plural, brought Nanda, dressed in clothing suitable for vows, in front of Varuna, Varuna recognized him by his tulsi and lotus garland, and understood that he had been meditating on Narayana. So Varuna does, problema. Extremely frightened, he respectfully put him on an excellent bed furnished with celestial cloth. Text 3, that was Snigdhakanta Madhukanta. O king, now we're back to Shukadeva Goswami speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. Not seeing Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men loudly cried out. They have a mantra. It's not Hare Krishna, it's Oh Krishna, Oh Rama. Nice mantra. Lord Krishna heard their cries and understood that his father had been captured by Varuna. That was quick. Therefore, the Almighty Lord, who makes his devotees fearless, went to the court of Varuna Dev. And there's a lot, and that's one little verse, text 3. So here's commentary. There's the elders and the brahmanas, and there's little Krishna. They loudly sang, "Oh Krishna, oh Rama," out of great pain, spontaneously. They just uttered the names of the Lord. The name of Krishna is first because he has a special affection for that name. Krishna liked it too. Or it refers to, this is Sanatana Goswami's commentary, the two brothers, Krishna and Balaram. So, you remember? I'm sure you remember. We discussed from Hari Bhakti Vilas recommendation when chanting mantra to also bear in mind and meditate on the meaning of the mantra, and one of the meanings given by, remember this? By Gopal Guru Goswami, that Rama indicates Krishna, who is the beloved of Radharani, Radharamana Rama. So Sanatana Goswami has a similar idea. There's little Krishna. Though they shouted from far away, Krishna heard the shouts as if close. Understanding that Nanda had been taken by Varuna, he went close to him, since he was all-pervasive. Vibhu, Krishna is all-pervasive. He gave fearlessness to all the people of Vraja, what to speak of his father. So that was Jiva Goswami. Now here's Snigdhakanta, Madhukanta. We're going to see them again and again. When Nanda, the protector of Krishna, disappeared from the view of the people, they dove in the water, but not finding him, they returned to shore. They returned to Vraja while waiting in grief and saw Krishna, Balaram, and others who lamented in front of them. Now that's Snigdhakanta, Madhukanta. This other is Krishna knew exactly what to do. So, but he went with Balaram. On hearing that most lamentable news, Krishna and Balaram's mind sprang into action. Now, Krishna's not going to bring Balaram with him. Balaram's going to have another service. Balaram's service is going to be likened to what Balaram did when, in an earlier chapter, the Krishna was in the coils of the Kaliya serpent. So what did Balaram do? He's having fun in the coils of the Kaliya serpent, no problem. He's having fun. So they were in distress, and Balaram checked them. Don't enter, the waters of the Kaliya lake are poisonous, don't enter. And besides he's Bala, very strong, they respected him. Although he's little, they respected him. So they did what he said. So he's going to do the same thing here. They passed all others, and moving quickly on the earth with zeal, arrived at the place on the river, the place where Nanda disappeared. Krishna embraced his brother, and with tears in his eyes, devotees have affection for Krishna, and Krishna has affection for his devotees, and it's not just a drama, and he's the part that he's supposed to say this and cry like that, and Krishna has genuine feelings. I mean, he's all-knowing, at the same time, circumstance arranged by his internal potency, because he has a plan. Part of his plan is we'll get there, but he wants to show the resident of Vrindavan by Kunta. But he also wants to rescue Nanda from the situation that by his internal potency it happened anyways. Anyway, oh brother, Krishna to Balaram, keep mother free of lamentation and protect the others. Protect them as long as I cannot make them happy by bringing father back. When mother comes here, she's not there yet, I will have not completed bringing father here. So he knows the script. She's going to come after he disappears. Krishna's going to disappear to get Nanda, but he's not going to bring Nanda back before. So stop, mom. Keep her peaceful. So there he goes, dives, climbs up a tree, dives into the river Jamuna. He went to bring Nanda. Though a lion expands his body on destroying his enemy, Krishna put the lion to shame. Gathering up his lower cloth, he disappeared in the Jamuna into a deep hole. Remember? Somehow. Varuna made a place there. So there's Balaram in the painting, and he's, other paintings, holding up his arms and telling them to don't enter. But the elders pacifying them, that was Krishna's instruction. The moment Yashoda and others arrived and saw Balaram alone, they looked for Krishna and asked, "Where has your younger brother gone?" Seeing that Yashoda was full of grief, he, Balaram, spoke, "O mother, do not be grieved. He will now bring back Nanda and make everyone happy." As in the case of the Kaliya incident, the elders, considering that Balaram's words would cause her recovery, made her relax. It's got some magic. Instill confidence. Because the principle, not only because, but according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, the guru function is an expansion of Balaram. There are some cases where the guru function is the expansion of Radharani or empowered by Radharani, but either. So his words were sufficient, just like the reassuring words of one who has confidence and trust in Guru. Just in the Guru's words, everything's going to be all right. Krishna's going to bring Nanda back. Text 4. Seeing that the Lord, Rishi Kesha, had arrived, the demigod Varuna worshipped him with elaborate offerings. Varuna was in a state of great jubilation upon seeing the Lord, and he spoke as follows. So the plot is moving quickly, isn't it? There's the abode, there's Krsna coming before Varuna. Varuna understood that Krsna, the inspiration to the senses, or Rishikesh, is generally invisible to the senses, had come very near to him. Praptam, that's how the verse begins. It is understood that then Varuna approached him. He worshipped Krsna to his ability. He's a demigod. He has opulence like anything. So he worshipped him to his ability. Previously, Krsna had been angry at Varuna's wicked servant. On meeting Varuna, however, Krsna saw that he was not too bewildered, although frightened, and that he had approached while offering respects. Krsna then appeared to be forgiving. Mood change. Having made certain that he had attained his own desires, which was obtaining his father. So, Krishna is omniscient. And apparently, when Krsna came before Varuna, Krsna was in the same special sitting place that Varuna had offered to him, having worshipped him, etc., etc. So, Krsna knows he's going to be successful receiving Nanda and taking Nanda back to pacify everybody. So back to Snigdhakanta Madhukanta. Though Krishna's body was black, it appeared red out of anger, transcendental anger. Though his eyes destroyed darkness, because of their intense gaze, they were difficult to behold. His quality of softness became ferocious because of anger. His voice was like the rumbling of thunder in a cloud at the time of final devastation. This astonished all people. So, different representations of Krishna's mood, but he's a little boy, but he's demanding. And Varuna understands who Krishna is. He's a demigod. He's not bewildered by who Krishna is. He knows who Krishna is. He's feeling himself very fortunate. Fie on my demoniac servant. But great fortune has come. Krishna has come. Going to Varuna's abode, similar to a hole, Krsna displayed boldness toward Varuna, thinking, "Where is that Varuna?" Then his mood changed. When Krsna had increased his powers with a desire to attack him, Varuna, with a cloth covering his throat, touched his forehead to the earth. Seeing Varuna's pride crushed, his followers also offered respect on the ground. Now, it's a little unclear, to me at least. Are they underwater or are they not underwater? Because sometimes the paintings show there's fish swimming around, which indicates they're underwater. But that's just the artist. Krsna. Where is my worshipable father? The performer of the highest Dharma, Varuna, spoke sweetly. O highest Lord, a person who resides where you stay and resides nowhere else attains the highest powers and becomes the foremost. I am one among your many servants. How can I follow your order? Well, his order is very clear. Where's Dad? Having given up his anger, Krishna spoke with a peaceful heart. Punishing these insignificant fellows will simply destroy the prowess of the punisher. Quickly, show me the lotus feet of my father. And so far, that's only 4 verses in the chapter. Number 5. Varuna said, now my body has fulfilled its function. Indeed, now the goal of my life is achieved, O Lord. Those who accept your lotus feet, O personality of Godhead, can transcend the path of material existence. So there's an offense to Varuna, or on behalf of Varuna, a servant did something. The reaction goes to the one who is engaging that servant. So Krishna is forgiving Varuna. There's Varuna sitting on his carrier. All the thousands of bodies which I have received till now have been useless because in all those lives I did not see you. Today my body has become successful. That is the indication of the word nibrita. Ni for nitaram, or completely successful, and britta for accepting a body. Nitaram, nibrita. So there's a nice baby tea painting. I remember this when this first came out. I remember the devotees making this painting in the art studio. It was really nice. Once upon a time, there was no BBT. It was ISKCON Press. And when it was ISKCON Press, the artists and the transcribers and composers and all those people, we all lived in the same house together. And there was this rule. The rule is, don't go where the artists are. So I broke the rule because I really like art. And I remember this painting because they had this privilege. It was really sweet time. So Prabhupada would record Krishna book in a microcassette. The microcassette would be sent by some special mail. They'd receive the special mail and they'd sit around and listen to the microcassette. Prabhupada dictating Krishna book. And then conceptually there were 3 main artists, Bhardraj, Muralidhar, and Jadharani. And there were others that would assist, but they were the 3 principal, most gifted artists. And then they would consider, okay, for this chapter, what paintings. And then the system they had was that it was like an assembly line. Bharadraj, being the most creative amongst them, he made the sketches, like pencil sketches, that said, what the scene would look like. Jadharani filled in the sketches, and Muralidhar did all the fine work, the jewels and the eyes and all the details. He was amazing personality. All of the different amazing personalities. So I remember this painting. I went upstairs to where their art room was, sat in a corner, didn't interrupt what they were doing. And it just as they were making the paintings, they were narrating the story. You imagine you're this little kid, Hare Krishna kid, and you didn't know any of this stuff. And there's the painting. And there's the narration, and the picture is being portrayed in words, the picture is being portrayed in canvas. I think that gives you some idea where I get this inspiration for images. It went in, it's still there. So, this was one of those paintings. There's, see there's the fish? And Nanda is on the throne, and Varuna is bowing before both Nanda and little Krishna. And Krishna's demanding, where's my father? He's right there. Today I have understood what is most valuable. Though I possess all jewels, I have not obtained such a jewel as you yet. Vishwanath. Those who worship your lotus feet cross the ocean of material life. I have without effort attained your darshan. How fortunate I am. Each of our commentators has their mood and speciality, and Vishwanath is a very Rasika Bhakta. He always finds something, or it reveals something that's very sweet, rasa-filled. Text 6. So put in red letters, Bhagavate, Brahmane, Paramatmane. Notice the sequence, Brahman, Paramatman, Bhagavan, but the sequence is different. Bhagavan is first, Brahman is second, and Paramatma is third. So we're going to hear why that sequence, please, in case you wanted to know. We'll hear. My obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality, Godhead, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Soul, within whom there is no trace of illusory energy, which orchestrates the creation of this world. This is Varuna to Krishna. So there's the Bhagavan feature, there's the Brahman feature, the Paramatma feature. So why this sequence? Is the question. Commentary addresses. Bhagavan. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction, and is also not the cause. Come again. He is outside of the waking, dreaming, and deep sleep states, those states of consciousness of jivas. By him, the body, senses, and pranas are brought to life and move. Know this form of Narayana alone. So he's addressing the Bhagavan feature first. In order to make the meaning of Brahman clear, Bhagavan is explained first. Since this tattva, Brahman, since this tattva has been explained as one only, with differences of quality and no quantity, quality and no quality manifest, there are differences in the names of the manifestations of Brahman and Bhagavan because of the different realizations of the respective worshippers of these forms. They're all three are aspects, according from Bhagavatam. All three are aspects of the Absolute Truth. They're all of the same absolute nature. Vedanta tattvadas tattvam yajnanam advayam. They're non-dual. Brahmeti paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabhyate. So a feature is realized according to the inclination of the individual. The Brahman feature may be revealed, or the Paramatma feature, or the Bhagavan feature. So the statement is being made, Bhagavan is being presented first, and Brahman second, is because many people have the idea that Brahman has no qualities. The undifferentiated Brahman, no qualities. But Brahman is the underlying substance of Bhagavan. So the particularities of Bhagavan have as their substrata Brahman. That's what's being said. Bhagavan is called not being the cause because he resides indifferent to the creation. This is Jiva Goswami in his philosophical prowess. He resides indifferent to the creation by the action of his Swarup Shakti. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction through his form as Paramatma, who stimulates Prakriti and Jiva into different conditions. So Bhagavan isn't doing directly, Paramatma is doing directly, and that the agency is through his spiritual potency, the Shrup Shaktis, and then voila, or bhavati, the creation starts to move. I mean, exactly what, his commentary is exactly what the Bhagavatam says. So it's not easy to understand. You have to hear it like so many times in so many different angles. And it may, fortunately, if you have devotion, it starts to fall into place. Oh yeah. So this is a 10th canto pastime that certainly comes after the second and third cantos, where the creation is described. And now it's piecing it together just in a verse of how he's the creator but not the creator. He's the cause but he's not the cause. He's the cause of all causes, but he's not the direct cause. That's the idea. At the end. Can we do that at the end? You won't forget, right? You have a good memory?
Not really.
Write it down. That's what you do. You want to know Prabhupada teaching? Here's a Prabhupada teaching. If you want to remember something, write it down. It's true. But you have a phone. Everyone's got a phone. Make a little note in your phone. That's one thing phones are good for. Distracting is another thing the phones are good for. Guaranteed distracting. Okay. Again, Varuna is speaking. Your father, who is sitting here, was brought to me by a foolish, ignorant servant of mine who did not understand his proper duty. Therefore, please forgive me. Please forgive me for the action of a foolish, ignorant servant of mine. So again, when you're in the position of carrying out a service, we're all in the position of carrying out as servants. It says, different levels of how we're carrying out service. We're part of a community. We're part of the Hare Krishna movement. So our behavior reflects on the founder Acharya. Good and bad. So blame may go to the founder Acharya if we do some foolish stuff. Or not just founder Acharya, your Bhakti Vriksha group. Or whatever standard. So Varuna, is asking for Krishna's forgiveness for what his foolish, ignorant servant did. No, he was following rules as far as he knew. It's in an auspicious time. He's entering into the river Jamuna in an auspicious time. Capture him, and he should be punished. Anyway, but there's a rule that supersedes it, and he wasn't doing wrong. And besides that, he's Krishna's father, so you don't mess around with Krishna's father. Whatever the rule is, that's a higher order of what you do and what you don't do. Here's the Sanskrit of the verse. Ajalata mamakena mudhena. We know what mudha means. Prabhupada liked that word. Fools and rascals. Mudha. Avajananti ma mudha. Fools and rascals. Sometimes I'm telling stories. Sometimes Prabhupada in Los Angeles would receive VIPs. One of the things that Prabhupada liked to do was to give his association to those who would give their association to others in universities, meaning professors. Prabhupada liked to cultivate loving dealings and higher understanding, devotional understandings in professors, because they've got an audience, the students in their classroom. He liked helping those. So one of the things that the devotees did, knowing that that's something that Prabhupada liked, is they made efforts to make friendships with professors in Los Angeles. And from time to time, professors would come. And of course, because the Western world headquarters for Prabhupada for years was Los Angeles Temple, there were a whole group of them. Maybe you've seen the video. There's an interview. There's like 15 of them sitting with Prabhupada in a little space is called Prabhupada's garden. He would be at one end, and they would be sitting in their nice chairs looking directly at Prabhupada. And one of the professors asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, why do you use this strong language? Fools and rascals. And Prabhupada knew what it meant. He knew not only what it meant, but, the impact. Call somebody a fool and a rascal. And he would say it again and again. And again and again. So they said, the professors said, can't you think of some other word? And they made a suggestion. I forget what the suggestion was. They made a mistake or something. And Prabhupada smiled and said, the summation, the sum total is fool and rascal. And they looked at each other and just rolled on. He was purposefully shaking. And he had the stature to say something strident like that and get away with it. So we shouldn't imitate. We don't have that stature. But we understand the mood that sometimes, purposely, Prabhupada was confrontational. To just wake people up. Being led by fools and rascals, the mudhas. So here's the mudha word. This was done by my ignorant servant who was a fool. There it is, ignorant and fool. This foolish servant did not understand the position of Krsna or Nanda Maharaj or devotional service to the Lord. Thus, he gets that label. Krsna says to Varuna, why are you embarrassing me by praising me like this? Varuna says, I have really offended you. It wasn't something he did, his foolish mudha follower did. With this mood he speaks this verse, that one can enter into the water before the sunrise if a little of the Dwadasi alone remains is permitted by those knowledgeable of bhakti scriptures. So there was no violation by Nanda. One of my servants, not knowing this, took your father away and committed a great offense. The offense of my servant is also my offense. So he's speaking with such praise. The explanation here by Vishwanath is, it's a big offense. And I'm responsible for the big offense. Although it was my servant, not knowing the rules, he went with another rule. And he kidnapped Krishna's father. Big offense. So notice there's some more fish in this painting. Pointing with his hands, he showed Nanda seated on a jeweled throne, worshipped by Varuna himself. So there's Krishna kind of like swimming around there in the Varuna's abode. He's gesturing, and he's in the center of Varuna, gesturing to Nanda. And Nanda's with his arms outstretched, wanting to receive Krishna. His father was engaged in remembering his own worshipable deity, Krishna. You are the ocean of forgiveness, but because I am the ocean of offense, you can punish me suitably if you wish. Verse number 8. So there's highlight is to the word Govinda. O Krishna, O seer of everything, please give me your mercy, even to me, O Govinda. You are most affectionate to your father. Please take him home. So here's Sanatana Goswami, why it's significant that he's being addressed as Govinda, the giver of pleasure to the cows. Govinda means he who enjoys Swarga as Inda. Thus Krishna is Varuna's master. Now, there's different meanings of Govinda. Let's do that one again. Govinda means he who enjoys Swarga as Indra. I'm kind of stuck, like what's being said here? Though he was an offender, that's Indra on the left who's the offender, Krishna would be merciful just as he had accepted Abhishek from Indra as Govinda. Or, Nanda is suitable as your father since you are Govinda. O Lord affectionate to your father, please take him. Or this is Sanatana Goswami giving different possible meanings why the word Govinda is being used. Please take him quickly home since time is for breaking the fast is almost over. The taking the bath comes before the breaking of the fast. But he hasn't taken grains yet, no indication yet. There's a deep meaning of the phrase affectionate to your father. Because Krishna had affection for his father, Krishna should come to Varuna's place for his father. Then, in his house, Varuna could see him and worship him freely, thinking in this way Varuna had brought Nanda here and put him in his house with devotion. My wish has been fulfilled, now you may take him. No, it's just, our acharyas are churning the topic in different ways. The purpose of churning topics in different ways is not to show off scholarship. It's to hold a different lens and look at Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and exchanges with others in a way that is refreshing, and there's no limit to how you can look at Krishna and Krishna's words and Krishna's pastimes. Not seeing Krishna with his eyes, but sensing him by his fragrance, Nanda regained consciousness to the astonishment of the assembled persons. Snigdhakanta, Madhukanta. The meditation on Narayana, which began with his bath in the Jamuna, was now broken. He couldn't see Krishna. Krishna touched his feet, raised him up, and embraced him. Oh, Father, I have come. In this way, Krishna brought him to his senses. Though they both were intensely emotional, to control their hearts and dissipate their tears, Krishna spoke. Oh, Father, you have been confined here. And everything is made nice. Just look at that. Nanda looked around. Where are we? He looked at the face of his son in astonishment. Krishna said, Oh, Father, do not do anything else. Just as I have come here, we will return to Braja. Get ready to put your lotus feet in that direction. Very sweet exchange. Oh, Krishna, you are compassionate. Please either punish me or show me mercy. That's Varuna, of course. But do not let my offense remain. Offense will not cease without punishment or mercy. Interesting point, huh? As the two of them were leaving, they stood there for a moment. Varuna offered various gifts at their feet and paid his respects. Now, what gifts does Varuna have? What gift does anyone have? It's something that came from Krishna. So there's this very nice description I read, and have to put it into the... When Kaliya is departing to go back to Ramanaka Island, the wives of Kaliya offer gifts to Krishna. Very interesting. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Krishna purposefully arranged for his Kaustubha gem to go into their treasury so they could give him his Kaustubha gem back. How does he know that? The pastimes of the personality of Godhead, they're performed when he performs his Leela, and they're performed in the hearts of those who are pure and capable. And Krishna may, performing those pastimes or reenacting those pastimes in the heart of the devotee, Spurti it's called. They had a glimpse of the pastime, and there may be details that are not in the verses of the Bhagavatam. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is one such commentator. Krishna arranged, when they weren't looking, that his Kaustubha gem went into their treasury so they could give him his Kaustubha gem. And isn't that sweet? So, and anything else that's in their treasury, where did it come from? Same place. So Varuna's offering gifts to Krishna and Nanda. He's honoring them. Shukadev Goswami said, thus, satisfied by Lord Varuna, Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of Lords, took his father and returned home, where their relatives were overjoyed to see them. And one can only imagine. Satisfied by the methods described by treatment, words and actions, Krishna returned. Why was he satisfied with just that? For such a great offense. Krishna is very kind. Krishna is omniscient and knew that actually Varuna had not made offense. In fact, Varuna did it with a desire to see me. Sanatana Goswami. Now, the plot thickens. Nanda Maharaj had been astonished to see for the first time the great opulence of Varuna, the ruler of the ocean planet, and also to see how Varuna and his servants had offered such humble respects to Krishna. Nanda described all of this to his fellow cowherdmen, which is now going to do something to their hearts. They're going to want to know, again, as happened in the previous chapter, who is this boy anyways? So it inspires Krishna to show them Vaikuntha. So he's going to do that. You ready? Nanda saw the great opulence, Mahodayam, of Varuna, which was astonishing to the senses, and the respect given to Krishna is omniscient by Varuna and other devas protecting the planet. Nanda profusely praised the great prosperity of Varuna, which was beyond human comprehension. He then described the great reverence that the inhabitants displayed for Krishna. Back to Gopal Champu. After Nanda's description, they were astonished in their hearts, and they thought as follows: even if it is true that he is the Lord, because of his indestructible power of knowledge, natural affection, and the giver of complete bliss. Because of this, our minds are always eager to see his excellent qualities, which destroy all longing. Will he show us this excellence without restriction? So they didn't say this to Krishna, but Krishna knows. Hearing about Krishna's pastimes with Varuna, the cowherd men considered that Krishna must be the Supreme Lord, and their minds, O king, were filled with eagerness. They thought, will the Supreme Lord bestow upon us his transcendental abode? Prabhupada writes in Krishna book. The cowherd men were filled with excitement upon hearing how Krishna had gone to the abode of Varuna to rescue his father, suddenly realizing that they were in fact dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They joyfully conjectured amongst themselves about their auspicious destination after finishing their present life. So Krishna's seeing, understanding their mood. Krishna automatically understood that what the cowherd men were conjecturing, wanted to show his compassion to them by fulfilling their desire. The Lord thought as follows. Whoops. There we go. Understanding the desires of his relatives, Svanam, Krishna, who had knowledge of all realizations, the happiness of Brahman, of Vaikuntha, Vraja, Bhumi, began to think in order to fulfill their desires. Nice smile. Though usually he covers or withdraws his majesty according to the degree of prema, in this case, by the inspiration of Leela Shakti, he had knowledge of all his forms simultaneously. Krishna thought, though these cowherd men actually understand that Brahman and Vaikuntha are insignificant because of tasting sweetness of Krishna prema, I will give them realization of Brahman and Vaikuntha happiness in order to fulfill the desires they manifest while they play the roles of unintelligent humans. There's more to this chapter. We're going to go to Vaikuntha. Lord Krishna thought, certainly people in this world are wandering among higher and lower destinations, which they achieve through activities performed according to their desires and without full knowledge. Thus, people do not know their real destination. So now comes some philosophy. Two types of illusion. Easy. Mahamaya, Yogamaya, right? Yogamaya, spiritual state of existence. Mahamaya, material state of existence. Prabhupada's purport. Krishna book. When my father, this is Vishwanath, when my father saw the opulence of Varuna, which is material, he then considered this Vrindavan to be lower than the planet of Varuna, even though it is the essence of Vaikuntha. Just like a foolish person, on seeing an inferior pearl, will be astonished at its form and luster and think the valuable pearl to be inferior. So, commentary is saying, Vishwanath is saying, Nanda was bewildered. Liberation and Vaikuntha are both dependent on me. I am not dependent on them. But it is seen in some circumstances that I am dependent on prema. Though it is evident to all, they do not recognize it. The controller, Ishvara, Parama, Krishna, the controller of all Starva karana karanam, the cause of all causes, becomes controlled by the love of his devotees in Vrindavan. Because the love of the devotees in Vrindavan is so special. I mean, there's many pastimes. One of the foremost ones is the Damodar Leela, where Mother Jasoda binds Krishna. She's chasing after Krishna with a little stick, a lati, and Krishna cries, rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. In Kunti's prayers, she marvels at the scene. She has maternal affection. Kunti has maternal affection towards Krishna. But for her, the love of Mother Jasoda is beyond her imagination. And how? When Krishna sees that little stick in her hand, he cries. So she reasons, it's not like he's just play acting, okay, the script says that I'm supposed to cry, so boo-hoo, I'm going to cry. But he was afraid. He who is feared by fear personified is afraid of that little stick in Mother Jasoda's hands. Where did the little stick in Mother Jasoda's hands come from? From Krishna. It's the love. He controls. He is controlled by love. That's the message. And because he is dependent, he's independent. He is dependent on their prema. He places himself dependent upon their prema. He submits to be controlled by prema. And then there's different exchanges of prema. So that's the most elevated stage of bhakti, and the prema in Braja is the most elevated amongst varieties of prema. So now here's Vishwanath again. Brahman is the effulgence of my body. This Brahman is without limit, beyond Maya. I say in Gita, I am the basis of Brahman. Matsya says, my greatness is called Para-Brahman. This Brahman is my all-pervading, formless light beyond material perception, but I am also eternally present in various sweet forms which are relished by senses anointed with prema. It's a very succinct and elegant way of describing the distinction. The foundation of Krishna's existence as Bhagavan is Brahman, but the Brahman is but his effulgence. And within that effulgence, or emanating from sweet forms. So the Bhagavan feature is superlative. Now we're going to go to Vaikuntha. As for Vaikuntha, the Padma Purana says, again this is Vishwanath, the area of Mathura is superior to Vaikuntha, Padma Purana says. Within Mathura is Vrindavan, the eternal abode of Krishna, which is not affected by even the final destruction of the material world. So it's of the nature of Brahman, although it's with form and variegatedness. And still his commentary, this is the last. Though Vrindavan is superior to both Brahman and Vaikuntha, the cowherd men desired to attain the experience of mukti and Vaikuntha only because they had not seen them with their eyes. Therefore, I will reveal these to them now, directly. So Krishna is making a plan. And no, that's all it takes. And then the plan unfolds. Thus, deeply considering the situation, the all-merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari revealed to the cowherd men his abode, which is beyond material darkness. So there they are. Krishna is pointing his abode. Look at that. I will show the superiority of Vrindavan by giving them realization of Brahman and Vaikuntha. He showed them Brahman and Vaikuntha. Separating the cowherd men from Vrindavan for a few moments, he showed them Brahman and Vaikuntha. He did this because he was most merciful. That is, he wanted to show them that the sweetness of Vrindavan was superior to Brahman and Vaikuntha. Very sweet. So, back to Snigdha Kanta, Madhu Kanta. Nanda and the cowherd men thought that if they bathed in the full moon of Kartik month in Brahma Radha, that's the same place where Akrura took his bath, which gave blessings to Akrura, they would quickly receive full results for their desires. So you see in the painting, this is another one of these old Krishna book paintings, there's Akrura taking his bath in the river Jamuna, and the far left side, that's Krishna and Balaram on the chariot waiting for Akrura to take his bath. And the Akrura gets the same vision of there's the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, surrounded by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma and Narada Muni and so many sages. So that's the darshan that Akrura had. Thinking this action to be the best, they went to Brahma Radha in the early morning. So Krishna's got a plan. He's going to show them what they want to see. Krishna went along with them and submerged himself in the river and then went to the bank of the river, not the other kind of bank. He then showed them Goloka. He's pointing to Goloka. Full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, endowed with form, taste, fragrance, touch, and sounds by its spiritual nature, and which is not revealed even to Atmaramas, since it is covered by the Lord's energy, so that no one can see it. So he pulled back the curtain. That place is called Brahmaloka, a planet with the human form of the Supreme Brahman visible by withdrawing the curtain as if revealing a wonderful picture. So he pulled back the curtain and they could see the spiritual world. They saw that Krishna, the tilak of their family, was sitting among cowherds similar to themselves. Seeing Krishna with his people in Brahmaloka, the inhabitants of Braja gave up lamentation and felt increasing happiness because of the bliss mixed with astonishment. So there's emotions connected with what they saw. They were curious. Who is this boy? Maybe he'll one day show us his abode. And he fulfilled their desire. Lord Krishna revealed the indestructible spiritual effulgence, that's Brahman, which is unlimited, conscious, and eternal. Sages see that spiritual existence in trance when their consciousness is free from the modes of material nature. So now there's this play throughout this chapter of these three features, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Krishna Loka and innumerable other Vaikuntha planets float in an infinite ocean of spiritual light called Brahmajyoti. Prabhupada's purport, Krishna book. For example, if we want to show the moon to a child, we say, look, up in the sky. See the moon over there in the sky? Similarly, Lord Krishna revealed the vast spiritual sky to the resident of Vrindavan, but the actual destination of the Lord's associates was his own spiritual planet. More. The cowherd men were brought by Lord Krishna to Brahma Radha, made to submerge in the water, and then lifted up. From the same vantage point that Akrura saw the spiritual world, the cowherd men saw the planet of the absolute truth. And they were astonished, needless to say. Krishna brought them to the lake of Brahman, the great reservoir of Brahman Vaikuntha, having the condensed form of Brahman. They were pulled out by Krishna, since, this is Sanatana Goswami, since it was not desirable, being an obstacle to the rasa of Vrindavan pastimes. So that was quick, because he wanted that they could experience Vrindavan again, but their curiosity was being addressed, and so he showed them what they wanted to see. Similar to what Akrura saw, but there's a difference. Here's the difference. They were pulled out of this vision. They saw Vaikuntha, full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, the source of Brahman, but because they played with Krishna and saw Krishna directly, they did not find this too significant. Meaning, Akrura is not a Brijbasi. So what Akrura saw impacted Akrura differently. And what the Brijbasis saw, they saw the same thing that Akrura saw, but it wasn't a big deal. They were curious, but it wasn't the same. Even Akrura, who caused suffering by separating them, the residents of Vrindavan, from Krishna, had seen it by jnana, but the cowherd men saw it directly with their eyes. Thus they were greater, and it impacted them differently. Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men felt the greatest happiness when they saw the transcendental abode. They were especially amazed to see Krishna himself there, surrounded by the personified Vedas, who were offering him prayers. Pretty amazing. Personified Vedas offering prayers to Krishna in this vision. And he's their little friend, or son, or whatever. Nanda and the cowherds saw more than Akrura and experienced greater bliss than Akrura. Seeing the place of Krishna, which was related to them, they naturally experienced the highest bliss. They were astonished because Krishna maintained his mood as a son even there. By mentioning Krishna directly, the verse indicates that this place is different from other Vaikunthas and establishes this place as the highest abode. It's clear? Goloka. It's in the category of Vaikuntha, but it's unique and very special, and Krishna is there. This pleasant Vrindavan is my only abode. There, all cows, animals, birds, insects, and humans are without death. Those who live under my mercy come to my abode undying. If you remember that nice elaborate commentary on Shriya Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataru, verse, very beautiful description. This is a much shorter, but very beautiful description of experiencing. They're experiencing, and the commentary is relating what they're seeing or experiencing, Krishna's eternal abode. Now, so his Boma Lila, they're directly experiencing, but they wanted to see the spiritual world, so he showed them, and there he was. And they're seeing, it's not so astonishing, it's the same as here. This place measuring 5 yojanas, is not different from my body. The daughters of the cowherd men live in my abode, completely giving up all connections. They serve me continually. The Yamuna, flowing with the sweetest nectar, is the Sushumna of that body. Those medical people, Sushumna, the principal nerve in the nervous system. So Krishna performs pastimes in this place. Sometimes, like in this, is the pastime of Krishna's hiding and seeing what the gopis are going to do in separation from him. All the devas and elements exist there with spiritual forms. Interesting, huh? The embodiment of all devas. I do not leave that forest for a moment, though I appear and disappear in this world age after age, but this radiant forest full of pleasure is invisible to the material eye. So some nice paintings and more nice paintings. Krishna Balaram, that's not a painting. There's the deities of Krishna Balaram. So that's the end of the chapter. Kind of an abrupt end of the chapter, but Krishna fulfilled their desire, and they had their experience of what they wanted. And Krishna pulled back the curtain, and then he closed the curtain. Close the curtain means they just forgot. Because to have the intimacy, they can't remember. And so they were curious, and so he showed. And then he closed the curtain, which means then they forgot. They didn't start seeing things with material consciousness, but they forgot the absolute position of Krishna because of the intimacy. The Madhurya eclipsed the Aishwarya. And that's Vrindavan. So there are different ways that we can understand that juxtaposition of Aishwarya Madhurya, but something very special about Vrindavan and the associates that reside there. Now our process given to us by Rupa Goswami is one can enter into that realm. But part of entering into the realm certainly requires purity, and without purity you can't enter. Just like you can't enter fire without being fire. You can't enter the realm of purity without purity. And then in addition to purity, because Vaikuntha has its purity as well, or Brahman has its purity as well. But there's an intimacy or Madhurya feature that one can receive by close affinity with some of Krishna's eternal associates. The Ragatmika is the term used by Rupa Goswami. Those perfected souls are eternally in that abode, and becoming attracted to them and remembering them and praying to them and hearing of their activities and their dress and their everything. It's like osmosis. It becomes part of your mood as well. But it starts with purity. You can't enter into that some artificial way. I mean, people try. And it's an embarrassment. It's not to be done. But purity is to be done, and so we do sadhana as effectively as we can, because it's the behavior, it's the conduct, it's the path to become pure, to make oneself clean, inside and outside. Sadhana, not mechanically, but naturally, can lead to higher stages. It doesn't automatically lead to higher stages. It certainly leads to purity. And then in that state of purity, we need association of souls like Rupa Goswami and the other associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that are bestowing not just Krishna Prema, but Braja Prema. And it has some special passwords. You get the special password. That's Rupa Goswami's teachings. You can enter. That's the invitation. It's an open invitation. Come on in. But I'm not qualified. Come on in. Become qualified. And come on in. That's what's happening. I mean, in simple language. They're very inviting. You got to wipe your shoes before you walk in, but leave your shoes at the door and come on in. These are elevated topics. I repeat from this morning with the Chinese devotees. We're starting to, in a series of discussions on, because they asked for it, pastimes of Radharani in her loving dealings with Krishna. So we started really simple, some very nice, very simple ones. And just this morning we started on a very involved one. That's Madhava Mahotsava. Madhava Mahotsava is a fantastic writing by Jiva Goswami, who's scholar superlative, describing a pastime that, without understanding Sambandha Gyan, it looks material. It's like, what's going on here? It's very confusing. It's not perceivable. Yet he's disclosing under the order of Rupa Goswami to disclose, and there's many, many things that happen that without fundamental understanding of what's what, Sambandha Gyan, it looks material. And it's not to blame the person that sees with material vision to hear something that's not material and think of it as material. So for us, for example, the process of chanting the holy name, because we just spent so much time trying to get absorbed in the holy name more, see the holy name as something material, a means to get, a vehicle to get you to where you want to go. And even to see that the vehicle is not material, nor is the place where you want to go. But there's a tendency, because we're conditioned souls. So hearing these nice pastimes, the last chapter in Canto 10 is chapter 90. Krishna's winding up his pastimes. It doesn't get completed until the earlier parts of Canto 11, but Krishna's winding up his pastimes. There's this, he's visited by Lord Brahma. I'll just go there. There's a pastime in chapter 90 where Vasudeva, living in Dwarka, wants to have a big yajna, a big festival at his home for the benefit of creating auspiciousness for all the residents of Dwarka. But there's auspiciousness already there, but it's theistic. He's a worshiper of the Supreme Lord. So he wants to have a big festival. And the demigods come to receive in person the offerings that are being arranged by the devas. Arranged by the brahmanas, headed by Gargamuni, and so many others. Nanda, this one, that one, the other one, they're all this big assembly of personalities. So Brahma arranges an opportunity to speak to Krishna privately and basically says, thank you very much. You fulfilled your promise. We request that you appear in this world to destroy the demons. Mission accomplished. If you so desire, you may wish to return to your abode. And he departed. Brahma departed. So Krishna is considering mission accomplished. However, there's something else. What's that something else? In order to assist me in my pastimes, I requested the demigods to appear on earth, and they did. And they became members of the Abode. Many, some are eternal associates, and some are demigods taking posts or positions. So I need to send them back to their demigod positions. So I need to make an arrangement so they can go back, and those that are my eternal associates, they can return to their eternal abode. And that's, mission is not finished yet. So the whole scene, it's at Canto 11, the cursing by the sages of Samba who came before the sages. Anyway, so many things happened. The withdrawal of the rest of the Yadu dynasty, including Balaram. How Balaram departs is really far out. Shoo. So, and then Krishna goes himself. He's winding up his pastimes. So, in these pastimes, these are his eternal associates that do not see Krishna as the supreme, but they're curious, who is he? So he's fulfilling their desire, and then closes the curtain again so they can have some more pastimes. And he's enjoying, and they're enjoying, and it's loving dealings according to so then this Yogamaya Mahamaya topic right in the chapter. So in chapter 90 of Canto 10, Srimad Bhagavatam, and in Prabhupada's writings as well as in commentary, Prabhupada writes, hearing just what we're doing, hearing these pastimes of Krishna have an effect. The modes of nature subside, and attachment to transcendence, attachment to Krishna becomes the natural byproduct. So the clearing away of unwanted, the awakening of wanted. Just hearing. There's a potency. Just like there's a potency in the chanting of the holy name. One might think of the holy name as something material. You do something to get something. That's material. But it's not like that. But one may think like that. And hearing the pastimes, the analysis of our acharyas is not just playfulness. They're enjoying, but looking at the pastime and the language of the pastime by Shukadeva Goswami in this way, that way, the other way. But it's attracting our hearts to become attached to Krishna. That's the effect. So let's see what happens in Houston, Texas with the hurricane and electricity, and who knows, we may be here a little bit longer telling more pastimes of Krishna. And the effect is reduction of material affinity and amplification of spiritual affinity, attachment. It's exactly what Prabhupada writes, and it's exactly what happens. Slowly, slowly. And in the assembly here, we're all in different positions in our spiritual trajectory. It's just fine. Hear the message of Krishna from proper sources. It's just fine. Slowly, slowly, the covering's reduced. The natural affinity, attachment, awakenings, And you want to hear more, you want to hear more, you want to hear more. You understand more, the inquisitiveness instead of whatever that people are inquisitive about. It moves in the direction of inquisitive about Krishna. The attachment goes to Krishna. That's our objective. A lifelong objective. Okay, so let's see if there's any discussion. You got the first question.
My question was connected to yours. Thank you. My question was connected to one of those earlier slides, and I had a doubt on the.
I can go back, but tell me what the doubt.
My doubt is when the impersonalists, it's the Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan slide.
Okay.
When the impersonalists, generally speak about Brahman, everything's Brahman. Are they referring to Brahma Jyoti, or is it how we define Brahman, or is this nomenclature thing? Sometimes it's used interchangeably. I don't understand the difference.
Well, there are different kind of Brahmavadis.
Okay.
Brahmavadis aren't all one. You follow? So some may focus on this, some may focus on that, some may focus on the other thing. So their definition of, for Brahmavadis, the definition of Brahman may differ. What they agree on is what it's not. But what it is, they may differ. So, for example, your specific question is, do they see it as the Brahma Jyoti? Well, the inference is that Jyoti comes from, light comes from something. That's logic. But they're fascinated by Brahma Jyoti, and so they don't need to know, they don't need to go the next step. Where does that Jyoti come from? Where does that light come from? What's the source of emanation of that Brahma Jyoti? So, now, not all Brahmavadis are one. You get the pun.
Yeah, I get it. So then how would we...
Our language is in the context of the three. Their language is not in the context of the three. So they don't use our language.
Even though they use the same Sanskrit.
Yeah, but they read it differently than we read it. Our understanding in context is different than theirs. I mean, you can get into for example, and for example, and for example. For example, what is Krishna? Covered Brahman. The form of Krishna is material. What's material? It doesn't exist. Not even mode of goodness. It's just, it's just, so they have different ideas about everything. So their nomenclature isn't the same as ours. That was one of the sound bites of your question. They use the terms in a very different way. Same term, some Upanishadic references, etc., but they read it differently, according to the school that they're from.
Thank you.
Then from our perspective, there's this kind of generic Brahmavadi. But then that has much to do with, in contrast to, or in juxtaposition with, Paramatma realized and Bhagavan realized. They're in that general directional category where there are certain assumptions that go with that concept.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Balaram.
No words to say, Maharaj. The story might be one paragraph, actually. Oh, this is what happened. But the way how much the acharyas is revealing so many secrets.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, what is that qualification I have to even listen to this pastor? What did I really do? So that was my thought process.
Let me respond. Yadrishchaya. You know the meaning. So those of you that don't know the meaning, this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur giving the answer. It's that Yadrishchaya is commonly translated as somehow or other, or inexplicable, or without a material cause. What's the cause? Because it's just fresh, so I'll just make the same reference as I asked Premanand if I could make reference to that the squirrel story. That made a deep impression, because what's the cause of that squirrel sitting there, hearing the holy name when he's about to leave, and then the next day he leaves hearing the holy name? So what's the qualification of that little squirrel? Yadrishchaya. Who can say? He is a pious squirrel. Maybe he got some prasadam or something. I don't know. But then that's not a material cause. That's just why did that squirrel get prasadam and not all the other squirrels? Yadrishchaya. It's causeless mercy. So what's your qualification? Causeless mercy. What's the cause of the cause? Vishwanath spends like pages going through, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's the other thing, maybe it's the other thing. And the answer he finally accepts, because he's building like a lawyer building a case. Krishna gives power of attorney to the Madhyama. And the power of attorney says, you can give bhakti to others at your discretion. And you don't have to have like a cause, just at your discretion. So devotees, supposing we're not part of the Hare Krishna movement, we want liberation. We're not going to go give bhakti to other people. Or suppose we don't have bhakti, we can't give bhakti to other people. But if we have received it, so that's how it begins. And then you carry on further by the same process, by hearing bhajana kriya, sadhu sangha bhajana kriya. You grow it and do it nicely, then it becomes sanartha nivritti, so forth. So how does it start? That's the eligibility for receiving the opportunity to sit here and hear these amazing sound vibrations that purify and awaken. What's their eligibility? You just happen to be at the right place at the right time, bumped into someone carrying bhakti, and they spilled some bhakti on you, and you said, thank you. That's all.
One more.
Yeah, sure.
Why is Krishna putting his to anxiety, especially in Vrindavan?
Why not? He comes to the rescue. I mean, it's part of, why is there an antagonist and a protagonist? The challenge brings one to an intensification of depending upon Krishna. We're always dependent upon. And so it's just variegatedness in love by the conflict. So Krishna creates conflicts in the spiritual world. That conflicts, they're different than the conflicts of this world, because the conflicts of this world is people fighting with each other, not for the purpose of taking deeper shelter. Win-lose. I want to win, so I get my tools and toys. And so in the spiritual world, it's intensify absorption. And then when the situation gets relieved, then it's celebration, waiting for the next, wave to come. That sometimes it's loving dealings, it's strengthening, sometimes smooth, sometimes turbulent. The purpose is intensification of absorption. Yeah, you got a microphone. It's a better one, somehow.
Yeah. So, thank you, Maharaj. I was in the past time, I was wondering, there are two offenses committed by Varuna. The first thing is the kidnapping Nanda Maharaj. Then, knowing that he has committed a grave offense or a mistake, he would have returned Nanda Maharaj to Vrindavan. Then why did he expect?
Slowly. I got the first part, but then you started speeding up.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought there are
Not
two.
all the way back to the beginning, just...
Yeah. So I was listening to the pastime. So I was wondering, there are two offenses committed by Varuna. The first one is kidnapping Nanda Maharaj, and the second one is knowing that he has done a mistake by kidnapping Nanda Maharaj. Then he would have returned Nanda Maharaj to Vrindavan. Instead of that, he's waiting for Krsna to come to his loka, right? Is that not an offense? Then what's your comment on that?
What's your answer?
Yeah. I was confused actually. I mean, I was going through the commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti, all the commentaries, but I'm doubting why Varuna is expecting Krishna. He would have returned, right? And he would have got same blessings from Krishna.
Well, it's a little bit like the backstory behind the backstory behind the backstory. The front story is not he did it so that Krishna could come. Rather, he's considered, part of the commentary says, he's considering how many lifetimes, they have so much opulence, but it's all fruitless because I haven't seen you, but now you've come. So it's the backstory. It's in his heart. But it's not like that was, he said, hey, you foolish, ignorant servant, go kidnap Nanda Maharaj, so then Krishna will come. It's an unfolding of this deeper desire of his devotee. Varuna is a devotee, it's an elevated devotee. As soon as he sees Nanda Maharaj, what does he do? So it's not like, yay, first half done, now Krishna's going to come. He's already feeling. But Krishna knows, so that the backstory is Krishna knows. So Krishna's making some arrangement. It's not exactly the offense. That was that slide. You remember the nice picture of Krishna sitting there looking very serene, and Krishna's contemplating. Actually, it wasn't an offense. He just wanted to see me. But that's the backstory behind the story. Behind the story. He wanted to see Krishna, but he didn't arrange kidnapping of Nanda so Krishna will come and I can see Krishna. It's Krishna's stirring events, like this earlier question, why conflicts? Krishna's fulfilling a desire of Varuna. That's not the offense part. Krishna confirmed, that's not the offense part. Our acharyas are able to see things that we can't see. And sometimes, even when they're saying things that we can't see. But the nature is, just so one more time, the nature is, Krishna saw. I was just reading a commentary about Ajamila. Ajamila. And Ajamila was Krishna's devotee. But he got waylaid. It became, bad. But he's Krishna, so Krishna protected him because he's my devotee. He got super duper covered, like big time covered. But he's Krishna, so Krishna protected him. So how many lifetimes was Varuna before he was Varuna? Who can say? But he's a great devotee and wanting to see Krishna fulfill that desire. So Krishna raged. So it's not an offense. Okay. Yes. One of our senior citizens over here.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. My question is that why the gopis in Vrindavan in separation of Krishna cry but not the gopas?
What's she saying?
Why did the gopis in separation of Krishna they show that lamentation through crying, but not the gopas, the boys?
I don't know. Some persons display sentiment, some conceal their sentiment, but doesn't mean the sentiment wasn't there, just different ways of exhibiting or displaying sentiment. Sometimes people that don't cry, they also cry because they can't curb their sentiment. It just comes. Okay? Yes. Are you brother and sister? Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So my question was, I've seen that sometimes some people in Krishna consciousness, like some devotees, maybe this is just my wrong observation or I don't know. I've seen that sometimes they execute like austerities for Krishna, for bhakti, in the mode of passion.
Oh,
right? They're
really?
Okay, maybe that I'm wrong, but
No, you're not wrong.
but sometimes I get that energy of like, you have to do this, we have to, like that energy of like doing aggression. Like they sometimes like austerity and everything, that's sometimes what they recommend, right? So I was wondering if that's actually a good thing, because bhakti is more like love and you're supposed to feel very happy and like excitement, and it's like that energy, right? So I was wondering if it's okay to execute austerities for Krishna in kind of like the mode of passion.
Well, austerity doesn't have to be in the mode of passion. Austerity can be in the mode of goodness. Austerity can certainly be in the mode of passion and pushing oneself or pushing others or shaking your finger at someone and say, you're not good enough because you're not austere enough because you have too many bracelets on your wrist. You're not austere enough or something like that. So, it can be. It depends. It depends on the consciousness behind the activity. Now, is it good on appearance days or on Ekadasis? It's in principle good. You reduce on the material, you increase on the spiritual. That can be considered to be an austerity. Just, don't take beans and grains. Or It's had a couple of discussions recently about onions and garlic. They're just things that we just don't do. Period. There's reasons why, but you have the reason why, then you don't do. And then the reasons to do, like austerity specifically you're asking, is there a reason to do? And it can be a mode of passion, motivation, or it can be a mode of goodness, motivation, or it can be a transcendental motivation. Like, let's take for example, like Raghunath Das Goswami. Let me ask you, was Raghunath Das Goswami in the mode of passion? You know Raghunath Das Goswami? No?
Oh, Maharaj.
Oh, okay. You should get to know Raghunath Das Goswami. That's a should. He was absolutely, say it 10 times, attached to Radharani. 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 Absolutely attached. Absolutely attached. Absolutely attached to Radharani. And his detachment was otherworldly. We would die if we tried to do what Raghunath Das did. And it wasn't artificial. It wasn't passion. It's just his nature. Some people are inclined. Then there's other persons that go on the other side of the spectrum. And a very nice personality in Gaura Leela is, his name just went away. Huh? Yeah, Pundarik Vijayanidhi. So there was a devotee of Lord Chaitanya that Gadadhar, who as a youth was inclined to austerity. He didn't like opulence. He just didn't like it. So one of his dear friends brought him to meet Pundarik Vijayanidhi, and he saw Pundarik Vijayanidhi with perfume and nice clothing and, a big couch and, yada, yada, yada. And Gadadhar's thinking, why did he bring me here? I'm getting out of here. This is a sense gratifier. So the devotee knew, and he started singing some verses from the 10th canto Bhagavatam. And Pundarik Vijayanidhi completely went into trance. He lost it. He fell on the ground, started rolling on the ground and crying. And then Gadadhar could understand, it's not because he's a sense gratifier, worldly person. He has affinity for Krishna, like I wish I had. So there's these extremes. So is it beneficial for a conditioned soul to observe some kind of, with regulation, not in a fanatical way, but in some regulation, reducing on the material side and increasing on the spiritual side? That's good. Then it can be done in the mode of passion, or it can be done in the mode of goodness, or it can be done transcendentally. So it's the consciousness behind, it's not the behavior itself, is good. Now, back to the premise of your question, some devotees are in the mode of passion, for sure. And then, they point fingers at, or speak and behave in ways with others that, I'm holier than you because, and it's, like shaming and blaming and all that, manipulating and things like that. That's unwholesome in principle. Now, not everybody that's in the mode of passion does stuff like that. So it all depends on, going back to my response to your question, depends on the consciousness behind the austerity or the minimizing. And that makes all the difference, the consciousness behind, not the behavior itself or the speech itself. You're number 3. You want to say something? You're good. Okay. You have an online question. Microphone over here. Does that answer? You okay? Okay. Okay.
We don't have the name, Maharaj. Says why there is still a tendency to ignore or escape.
To ignore what?
Ignore or escape from
escape.
from the path of surrender, even after hearing the words from the scripture and sadhus. This mentality causes many struggles in bhakti.
So it's making a statement, it's not a question.
Why there is a tendency to ignore, even after hearing the.
Oh, we're attached. We're conditioned souls attached to stuff. And the head is going like this, and the body is going like that. And then there's this one. It's Indian language. All the way in the back, Sri Radhika, and then somebody else besides her. Okay, okay. All the way back.
Guru Maharaj, I have a question from the commentary that you read yesterday on the
comment
Sri
from
Brahma
yesterday.
Samhita. So one paragraph said, Goloka is called Shvetadweep, but it is a different place from the Shvetadweep found within the ocean of milk in the
Yes.
material universe.
Yes.
In this universe, only a few rare saints know that highest Shvetadweep, and they're rarely seen not only because they're so few, but also because they generally prefer to remain in seclusion to avoid materialistic association and to freely relish Krishna consciousness. How can there be materialistic association in Shvetadweep? How can there be materialistic association, Maharaj, in Shvetadweep?
I guess we have to ask the author because there isn't.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. I second Balram Prabhu about his comment. So I just had a comment, Maharaj, to share. It was very moving to see the refined sentiments of Lord Krishna in various aspects of this pastime. Like he was crying for his father, first of all, embracing Lord Balaram. And then he was also at the same time caring for his mother and asking Lord Balram to go and console her. And then his refined talks with Nanda Maharaj, and then he came back from Varuna's abode and then again got busy in fulfilling the desires of his devotees, Vrajavasis. So I used to ponder upon what Krishna does like throughout the day, although it is mentioned in Krishna book, but like the details, finer details, so we are getting a little glimpse that he is also busy, very busy serving his devotees moment to moment. So it is very, beautiful feeling, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Her mind is already thinking of the next drama. Yes? How to capture those subtleties through drama. You have to have subtle actors and subtle audience to capture. So, yeah, anyway, all power to you. The drama yesterday was very nice.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes. Who has the microphone? Oh, they're back there. Okay.
So my question is like when Yadus were assisting, the demigods were assisting Krishna in Krishna's pastimes.
The demigods are assisting.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Part of the Yadus were the demigods. So at that time, like who are performing the duties of the demigods?
Oh, they were expansions of the demigods.
Okay.
They didn't hang up a little sign said, taking a vacation for 125 years. Expansions of them. Angsa is the Sanskrit word.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Yeah. He has to play with the dials. Go ahead, speak.
So I know that whatever we are praying is because of the mercy of Krishna.
Yes.
I know this because of his mercy, but still, every day I go in front of him, I keep asking for mercy. Greedy for his mercy.
Depends, like her question. Greedy for austerity and greedy for mercy. Can be passion or can be transcendental. No, so it depends on the consciousness behind that greediness.
Mm.
And like we spent a lot of time over this past weekend on self-centeredness. Yes? Were you there?
No.
No, okay. Self-centered greediness is possible. Krishna-centered greediness is possible. So it's the consciousness behind, it's not specifically the greediness. It's spiritual, a primary spiritual qualification for making further progress is lolium or greediness. But then it's not the material kind.
Yes.
Back to Sri Radhika's question. Not the material kind. So it's a qualified greediness. Then it's good. Yeah?
Maharaj, Maharaj, I was curious that we say that, or Krishna book says that Parakiya Ras, unwedded love is higher than Swakiya Ras.
Well, it depends.
So how is it that in the spiritual world that cannot exist? Or, it doesn't exist in the spiritual world? Because you had mentioned that they're
because the
married.
pastimes are that in this realm are also of the same nature as the spiritual realm, so they're also spiritual. Krishna isn't bound by our yardsticks, so he can perform whatever he wants, wherever he wants, however he wants, whenever he wants. So the earthly pastimes are part and parcel of the spiritual pastimes in the spiritual world. They're just not exhibited there, and they are exhibited here. So he's not bound by our yardsticks. He chooses. And if he chose otherwise, he could choose otherwise, but that's his choice. So he doesn't need our yardsticks to conform to our expectations. Everything should be in Goloka Vrindavan, please. The Krishna in his worldly pastimes is the same Krishna than his Goloka pastimes, non-different. He chooses the way that he chooses. I thought so. I saw your arm go up in the air. Pass. You have a microphone? Okay.
Yeah.
You need a teenager back there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for such a wonderful class. I just want to
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I was just thinking how Shukadev Goswami was a Brahmavadi,
a truly liberated soul to the point that he didn't want to come out of the womb of his mother,
Yeah.
even though the womb is such a terrible place for a baby. He was so like beyond the body and all that. And so, and then of course we hear the story of how he got attracted to hearing some verses from the Bhagavatam, and he became such a
Yeah.
personalist. And so to the point that he relished Bhagavatam to such an extent
Yeah.
that even his superiors were sitting and they were thinking that they're hearing it for the first time. You know, so it seems like when pure devotees, the more they relish, and when they give it to others, the more the audience can relish. And
Yes.
I was thinking, Maharaj, how you relish the pastime so much that when we hear that we can relish so much better in a conditioned state. And
I'm working on it.
Yes, Maharaj, it is just so wonderful to hear from you. But so I did have a question about, well, I forget. I actually forgot the question. Yeah. Yeah, Shukadev Goswami Maharaj was relishing it so much that he was able to change Parikshit. Initially, he was fearing death, and then he was fearing later for Krishna because Putana was there. You know how he changed his whole perspective on from fearing for his own death to fearing for Krishna, that Putana is going to poison him. It was such a wonderful transformation, and we are all hoping that just hearing from you, we can be transformed like that. Maharaj, thank you so much for this.
You're a poet. Transcendental poet. I don't know anybody, well, I know some people. I was going to say, I don't know anybody that relishes the topics of the Bhagavatam like you do. But you have, there are others that relish the topics of the Bhagavatam similarly, but you have your own taste. Because of that years and years and years and years and years.
Maharaj, it's only because of hearing from sadhus like yourself.
Yeah,
we
but
absolutely have no qualification.
I can understand from the quality of your two sons how much love for the Srimad Bhagavatam you have has been passed on to them, and they're carrying that because you gave it to them. And I know where the attachment to Bhagavatam takes you. So I just follow behind you when you go there. It's true. It's true. Okay, so I think we'll end. Srila Prabhupada ki